So here we are with Rodney and his classic car collection, which is a little bit smaller than before.
Yes.
Well, what have you got left in the garage?
That's a '84 Rolls-Royce Spirit, and that I bought. Oh, I'm trying to think. 30 years ago, and it was their wedding car, so I kept the bride and the car. And this is a 2012 SKR 5-litre supercharged Jaguar V8, and this is a 84 SL 5-litre, not supercharged, I might add.
You've had this one for quite a while.
A long time, yes. Again, about the same period of time. It's about 30 years. And it's done relatively low mileage. It's about 50,000 Ks, which, if you equate it, is virtually running, I guess.
There's nothing for a big V8 like
No. It's a dream car. It's obviously quite heavy. All these cars are heavy on fuel. I mean, this is about 16 or 17 litres to 100 Ks. That's 16 or 17. This also, but if you go on a long trip, this one you can halve that perhaps down to about 9 litres, 100 Ks. And the Harley, that.
You got the old Harley?
Yes, that's a 1200 Sportster. I did have a 1650, but I found it too heavy for me. But the 1200's manageable. Doesn't have the same torque as the Road King, but it's manageable. If it falls over, I can pick it up. You see, whereas the other one, I had to get help. And this is a 250 Vespa, and that is automatic, and it's a 4-stroke, so there's no smoke, no oil drips out. It starts on a push button. And
what year is this?
This is, I'm trying to remember now. I've probably had it about 8 years, I should imagine. So that's about 2014, 2015 perhaps.
It's still got the classic iconic shape.
Yes, I love it. And in actual fact, you know, I've been a motorcyclist all my life, and I would never consider a scooter. But when I bought this, I thought, why have I been so anti? Because it's easy, it's nippy, it doesn't drip oil, it starts easily, you can put your shopping under the seat, and it's reliable. I cannot fault it in any way. I think it's the wonderful mode of transport, and I use it quite a lot.
So in terms of, did you get which ones have you had the longest out of these vehicles?
I think these two are almost, this came first in the early 90s, and that also was middle 90s when I bought that, actually.
And these are back in hot demand now, the 500 SLs.
Oh yes.
Have you had any mechanical issues with
No,
over the years?
none at all. None at all. In fact, the only thing is that it's an aluminium block, and it had a pinhole, but we don't know whether it was in manufacture, and we thought, well, has it got a cancer, you know? But we plugged the hole, and it never reappeared again. So it could have been a manufacturing defect in the casting, but not one iota of problems at all. It always starts, it always is reliable, and it's a pleasure to drive because it's got an air conditioner, it's got heaters, it's comfortable, it's got a hard top, but which I don't use, it's too heavy, and the soft top, it's a little bit of a mission to, you know, it's kind of complicated arrangement, whereas one can appreciate a car that's, you just press a button and an electric hood comes up.
Didn't you used to have a 450 with electric hood?
I did have a 450, but it was, somehow it had a cooling problem, and I put a tropical radiator in, which is a thicker radiator, But it let me down going up to Johannesburg on a I was towing some motorbikes, and I said, well, that is it. This car has got to go. It had let me down more than once. And obviously I don't know what the problem was, but I virtually gave it away. I also had a Alpha 2 litre, a Spider, like this, red, mint condition, and I sold that for 30,000 rand, saying that was a silly thing to do, because it was a beautiful little car, actually. Exactly. And so, you know, in your life you have cars, they come, they go, and the XJR, that also was a supercharged V8 Jaguar. And the day we sold that, my wife said to me, why are you selling this car? I said, well, I haven't got room. We used to squeeze it in here, but it wasn't easy. And in the end, it had to go, because I prefer that car, but the SJ was more comfortable. It was a beautiful, it's like driving along in your lounge, you know. It was so beautiful leather seats, and it drove beautifully. It was fast. It was heavier on fuel than these. Obviously, the more modern the engine, it becomes more efficient, and so that in itself. But look, these are old engines now in today's terms, but they are reliable. This is more reliable than the Rolls, actually. The Rolls needs to just be fettled. It just needs a slight tuning, actually.
Is it possible to have a little look around the Rolls?
Yes, of course, yes.
Maybe
yes.
fire up
I'm not sure if it will fire up. The others will fire up, but we'll try. Now, let's see.
Any history behind this Rolls-Royce before you got it?
It was owned by the chap who owned Underwater Construction, and I'm trying to remember his name. He bought it brand new, and it went to Johannesburg, and then it came down to Cape Town, and then I bought it. But I remember the guy's name. Let me see if I've got.
Looks like you haven't driven it for a while, judging by the tyres.
Yes. No, they're supposed to be 1.7. Yes, so that you keep them quite soft. Actually.
Okay. And what would the operating pressures be of them?
Well, that's 1.7.
Sure, so
it's low.
You must get a comfy ride.
Yes. Yeah. Well, look, it's a heavy vehicle, you see, and it's a big tyre. Whereas these cars, it's about, I don't know, about 2 bar, you know. So
with probably a 20-inch rim on the Jag.
Yes, yes. I have no idea why this has fallen down. Makes you wonder whether anybody's been tampering with it.
You never know.
No.
Does Richard and Miguel have a love for cars like you?
They do, but I think they would all like the Mercedes sports car, but Gracie said she wants it.
She's first on the list.
Yeah, she's first on the list, yeah. I don't think it's going to start.
How many K's on the clock here?
130.
It wants to turn. A lot of theatre going on outside.
It's going on about 6. That's why it needs. I need to. I was going to try and see my friend Steve Marsh, who works on Rolls-Royces, and I went to see another friend of mine, Johan Maria. He's another guy you should go and see, because he hand builds Rolls-Royces, but he's not well. Yeah. And I went to see him yesterday, but he said no, it was such a shit day. He said I'm not going to go to work. But he does it as a hobby. He's got a factory in Deep River.
Nice. Do the other cylinders come back online?
They will. Oh yes.
They're just slowly. Yeah. Which sounds like peach. Let me get the exhaust. Sure.
Actually, it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah,
really.
it
sounds okay. Yeah, I just got to just put this.
Well, that power is something else.
Yeah.
So it's very immense inside.
Yes.
But no sunroof.
No sunroof.
Was that probably before sunroof?
I think so. Yes. It's like driving a battleship.
Yeah.
You know, I was driving down past the airport, and a guy, African bloke, was crossing, you know, that centre division, that concrete, and he entered into the road. Now I'm doing about 120, 130, you see, and I thought, well, he'll cross the road, so I'll keep in the fast lane. And then his hat blew off, and he walked back into the fast lane. So I had to go in the left lane. And then, of course, by swerving, this car doesn't like deviating. It wants to go in a straight line. It doesn't like, because it rolls like a battleship. And I nearly turned the car over, you know, because you're going at speed. Whereas with a modern car, you can do that. You can, you know, zigzag on the road. This car doesn't like it because obviously it's top heavy. It's a lot of weight.
High ground clearance.
Yes, and you start swinging around, there is a danger that you can roll the thing. So, I mean,
that's why they call it Rolls-Royce.
That's why they call it a Rolls-Royce. Yes, yes. So,
but the beautiful touches.
Oh yes. No, look. I like it. Grace says sell it. But I said, no, I like it. You know, I mean, I like
Gracie
it.
likes the sports cars.
Oh, yes. No, she likes this car too, but she says, well, I should never have sold the other Jaguar. It's too late now. It's gone. Yeah.
The thing about cars, there's always another one around the corner.
Absolutely. But the thing is, though, Greg, aren't we like at the end of the road with these type of cars? You know, is it not going to be... We're going to be driving hybrids, but in this country with the electrical problems, I'm not sure really whether electric cars are ever going to take off here. Do you?
It's going to be generations.
I think so. I think it'll be 10 years or more before ever.
Minimum.
Yes. Look, Jaguar have facilities at every dealer from here to Joburg and here to Durban. So you've got to book every Jaguar dealer to go and charge your electric car. But I mean, the problem is some of the electric cars don't go that far, do they? This is the thing.
You'd be lucky to get 200 miles out of the car.
I think so. So, look, I spoke to a guy in England who had a Ford Vignette, which is, I don't know, it's like an SUV. And it looks good. It looks like a Merc. And I said to him, you know, what do you think of this car? He said, it's the best thing I've ever driven. He said, it is, you know, reliable. It's a hybrid. And he said, it's got a good range. And he said, it just drives like an ordinary petrol car. You know, it has got a petrol engine, but it looks good. But then again, you're looking at 40-odd thousand pounds, what, 800,000 rand or something. If you're lucky, I suppose. If you want one with, you know, bells and whistles, you're going to pay a bit more, I guess.
Exactly.
But, you know, it is academic. Do you buy it just to save the planet or to save money?
But the problem is you're not saving the planet, but the
No.
mining that goes into these batteries is astronomical.
Yeah, and what do you do with the batteries when they go fraught?
Exactly.
And so, look, it's early days yet, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
And I think one's got to see how it all runs and the technology. I mean, I've got an inverter here, and I had ordinary, like lead-acid batteries, I suppose. I had 8.
Yeah.
But they didn't last longer than about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. But I paid 50-odd thousand for a graphite lithium battery, and that works a charm. You know, it gives no hassle. The guy says, no, it'll last 1,000 years. I said, I'm not interested. 1,000 years. Well, this is his selling point, you see.
Oh, wow.
He said it is so reliable, and this is the modern generation of battery. that presumably they will put in these cars, you know, that actually do hold. This one will hold enough power for this house for about 6 hours or something.
Sure.
So, you know, from that point of view, you say, I never thought you could get batteries that would power up fridges and computers and TVs and lights and whatever for 6 hours.
Is that a Tesla battery?
Well, it actually does come from China, but but the agents are, as I understand it, is designed in Canada. The company that builds them is in Dubai, but they sublet it all to China. They actually build them in China. So this is the chain that you're going through from Canada to Dubai to China, and then it's going to come here. Because I wanted to import them, but there's somebody doing it, but they don't bring many down to Cape Town. They only supply them in Joburg.
How much did you say lead graphite?
This is a graphite lithium battery.
Lithium graphite.
Yes, and that the technology is so better. You know, it actually is, to my mind, has never faulted. And I must
How
have
many
had
years
it
have you had it for?
about 3 years, I should
That's
imagine.
pretty good.
Yeah.
And it cost-wise, twice
It
the
cost me
price?
55,000.
So it wasn't even that much more.
No, but it's heavy. It took 4 men to lift it.
That's the problem with these. You have one of these hybrid cars. You're adding an extra ton onto the.
Yes,
onto the
this
weight.
is the trouble, isn't it? Really, and so it is something that you know. We've got to wait and see how it unfolds, and because it does actually introduce the prospect. What's the point of being a mechanic when modern cars are really, you need to be an electrician? Isn't it? There's very little else that moves other than the wheels and maybe the gearbox, but I mean everything else is. So you can see that to be a mechanic has changed actually.
Exactly.
And as we know with electrical things, you don't fix electrical things anymore. You throw them away and you just plug in a new thing, don't you? You don't fix washing machines. You don't fix radios.
Companies love that.
Yes, just throw it away, you know, this type of thing. I mean, I bought a clock from. It was one of these carriage clocks, and with the electric motor in it, you see. But it was a nice clock, and the people in England said, "Well, what motor is it?" I don't know, you know. And he said, "No, we don't do that, you know." I went to 2 places. They said, "No, we don't do it." Came here, went to local place down in Plumstead. "Oh no," he said, "you know, we won't be able to do that." So I take it to another bloke, and he said he can't do it. So, oh, bugger this. Then I will take it to pieces. I took it to pieces, and I bought a spare motor, but the hands didn't fit it. You see, so now trying to fit the hands on, I bugger the socket for the hands up, and. So in the end I thought, well, I'll go and buy a new motor, because the new motor's only 40 rand. So I buy a new motor. I said, no, would you now put hands on that work? Because I'm trying to use second-hand hands and they didn't work very well. Well, he put it on. I put the whole thing together, and I tell you what, it works a charm, you see. But all of them just said, no, just throw it away, you know, don't fix anything. And sadly, that's where we are now, isn't it, really? Really, people don't want to fix anything anymore. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway culture.
Throwaway. It is a throwaway culture. And
there's nothing throwaway about this car.
No. Well, look, it's a dinosaur, actually. This is the... You know, I mean, they still make Rolls-Royce, but they're actually making electric Rolls-Royces. Now, can you believe that? Electric Rolls-Royce.
The Queen will be turning in her grave.
Well, this is it. But having said that, though, Greg, I used to cut my grass with a lawnmower. You remember these Briggs and Stratton smoky two-stroke little
Yeah.
motors, and you pull the cord and there's clouds of smoke and all this. Well, in the end, I got tired of this because the plugs used to foul up and everything. So I could buy a cheap Chinese electric lawnmower. I plug it in, it goes, "Whizzz." Within 10 minutes I've cut the grass. You say, why did I waste 25 years of my life messing about with this smelly, unreliable Briggs and Stratton lawnmower?
There's some romance for all that grief.
Well, there is a bit. Well, we were listening to a guy on the radio this morning, and it's some scientist, I think, in Australia, and he was saying they should stop having diesel engines in cargo ships. They should have sails. You say, but they stopped sailing ships about 100 years ago.
Exactly.
Now, can you imagine moving a tanker or one of these container ships with 100 or 500 containers on board with a ship with sails? I mean,
You'd have no chance.
no, it's
You could maybe supplement the power,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be propelling.
it's a no-brainer, isn't
Exactly.
it? Really?
Is there any chance of having a look at this, the engine on this beast?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's where the magic happens. And which one of the cars turns the most heads?
Oh, I think it's that. The three-wheeler. Oh, the red one, the Mercedes. Everybody wants to buy the Mercedes. Wherever I park it, I find a what's his name on it, a message saying, "Do you want to sell this car?"
Sure, this is a lot of theatre going on, yeah. Immaculate. Is this you said it's a 6.7 or something?
6 and 3, 6.75 litre,
So it's pretty
and
big.
that was standard Rolls-Royce engines, and it. To be quite honest, it's not it's an American engine.
It's
I
pretty
think
much-
I think it's a Buick V8
Yeah.
that they found ticked the boxes to power this car, and that's why they stayed with it 20, 30 years or something. They said and nearly all the Rolls Royces was 6 3/4 litre.
So it doesn't even have a Rolls-Royce engine.
No, they perfected it. It has got Rolls-Royce markings on it, but it is basically an American engine. For such a huge engine, and it's basically still only 4 seats and 4 wheels,
Yeah.
isn't it really? I mean, this engine you wouldn't put in a truck, would you? So you don't really need it at all. But it is effortless motoring, but it's never moved with the times. And of course, you drive a car like that, and I mean that just goes like the clappers.
It goes like stink.
Yes.